What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Tesla. It's a Monday. It's been a long Monday, I'll tell you what. But the weather's not too great. We're gonna. I really don't know what I was gonna talk about today, but then something hit me, so I think we're gonna talk about superchargers and maybe my sunroof, because things are looking up, guys. So anyways, let's get out of the garage and then superchargers. Let's talk superchargers, just briefly, just like real briefly, but like also like a decent amount of time, because I kind of have to make a vlog about it. So let's get out of the garage. Whoa, I've never seen that many people pull into the garage at the end of the day. I don't know what's going on, but am I missing like a party or something? Like, what's going on a Monday at 5:30 p.m. in my office building? Well, not like my office building, but like there's a bunch of offices in the... Anyways, I don't know what's going on, but anyways, guys, let's talk Tesla superchargers. Now, I know most people watching this video probably already know this, but maybe some people don't. But not all superchargers are created equal. And, well, there's a lot of differences between the older superchargers and the new, like, V3 superchargers that are coming out, but they're not really out yet. They are out, right? Like, there's a couple over in California, but as far as I'm concerned, there's none over here on the East Coast, at least not that I'm aware of. Maybe one or two have popped up now, but I don't think so. Anyways, superchargers. So originally, or not originally, but basically since I've had my Tesla and for the last couple years, they've basically gone up to like 120 kilowatts. That's how quickly they'll charge, etc., which is, you know, over 350 miles an hour of range at a time. So don't get me wrong, super quick. So with the V3 superchargers, they've really bumped that limit. So those get over, I believe those get like, for the V3, which is incredible, like ridiculously fast. I think I did a video on when they came out on that stuff and more of the details there. So I'm not really going to get too much into that. But just even right now, before the V3 superchargers come out, V2 superchargers recently, and I don't know how recently, but I did notice this last weekend, they got bumped to 150 kilowatts. So they did have a slightly higher potential, but I don't think they can go much higher than that. And that's just based on how they're built. That's the hardware involved there. But either way, it is pretty cool that they were bumped. It allows people to charge faster at the current supercharging infrastructure that's already out there. And then going forward, as the V3 superchargers roll out and as they replace them, obviously they'll just get faster and faster for newer cars that can take that higher amount. Now my car, my understanding is I don't think I can get above 120 kilowatts. I tried this last weekend. However, I only got down to like 40 some miles of range, and it does taper quickly. So I'd be curious to know if I was down at like 10 or 20 miles of range, and then I put the charge rate to 100% rather than 90%, if it would go higher. So I'm not really sure if I can, but my understanding is I don't think I can get more than 120 kilowatts right now. But wait for it. Wait for it. Woo-wee! Not too fast though. Not too fast. The acceleration never gets old, guys. It never gets old. It really doesn't. Anywho, yes. So not all superchargers are created equal. So most superchargers out there, 120 kilowatts, maybe or all have been bumped to 150 kilowatts. I don't know. I can't really confirm that. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to right now. And then you have new quote-unquote superchargers that are going in, but they're only like 72 kilowatts. So I consider those like destination superchargers. Yes, I believe they're classified as superchargers. I don't know what the threshold is, but they're gonna charge, I wouldn't say slow, because you're still probably getting maybe over 200 miles an hour of range. I'm not sure. I can probably look it up. Maybe I'll pop it on the screen right here. If not, you're easily getting over 100 miles an hour of charging like range, even at 72 kilowatts. And just know that even if you're at like a supercharger that's 120 kilowatts, it does taper off quickly to the point that even if you're able to, you know, charge at 120 kilowatts, 150 kilowatts, whatever it may be, as your car fills up, it's going to taper down. But if you pull into one of the like destination superchargers, such as the one that they just installed in Arlington, Virginia, even if you only have 20 miles of range, it's going to max out at the 72 kilowatt max. So that's something to note. On your car, it does actually designate the max kilowatts. So on your screen, you can just tap the screen and the side menu pops up. Down here, you have this little supercharger icon. You can tap that, and as you can see, you get some superchargers. And these are destination chargers. So the gray one are truly like destination, like 20 miles of range an hour or less charging. Superchargers are in red. So down here you can see the Arlington supercharger. If you tap that, you can see that it says 72 kilowatts. So yes, it is 72. You can also see that parking fees apply. So this is in a parking garage on level 5, and you do have to pay to park. However, some people will note there's a lot of resources online. You can get validated parking. So like the Whole Foods, for example, I believe validates. So if you go shopping there or go in, I don't want to say if you don't shop there to validate there, but either way, Whole Foods does validate parking. It tells you everything. So it tells you how many stalls are available, how many stalls are there. It tells you what idle fees are, and then it tells you like what's in the area. If there's restrooms, food, coffee, sleeping, shopping, Wi-Fi, all that good stuff. So gives you a lot of good information just right on the map of your supercharger, what the max charge rate is, what kind of amenities are around, as well as if parking fees apply and what kind of idle fees apply. So very helpful, especially seeing, you know, how many stalls are available and the max charge rate. I think those are probably the two key things, because if you're on a road trip, for example, and you happen to be passing through like a certain area, it is nice to know whether or not you're going to be able to fully utilize. Thanks, Waze. It's going to be nice to know if you can utilize 120 kilowatts of charging, or if it's only like 72 kilowatts. What I like to consider, I don't know if this is the official term, but like a destination supercharger, because it's not a destination charger, right? You're still getting over 100 miles an hour of like charging speed, which is quite impressive. But it's obviously no 120 kilowatts, 200 kilowatts, anything like that. So just something to pay attention to when you're looking at quote-unquote superchargers on the map, on your phone app, online, those kinds of things. Another thing to note, which is not apparently going to be an issue with the V3 superchargers, is that if you look at supercharging stalls are titled like 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, that kind of thing. Either way, superchargers, when you pull into like the V2 superchargers, like the ones I was charging at, that do 120, 150 kilowatts, you see the 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B on them. Just note that if someone is pulled into one of those, you don't want to pull, like someone's in 1A, you don't want to pull into 1B if there is another set of like two superchargers with a different number available. And the reason is that if someone's in 1A and you pull into 1B and someone's using the other 80 kilowatts or using 80 kilowatts at the time, you might only get 40 kilowatts. So it splits the charge rate between the person who has priority and then whatever is left you get. So if they've been charging there and their charge rate has slowly come down from like 120 to 80, what's going to happen, at least my understanding, is that you would get the other 40 kilowatts until they either A, unplug their car, or it becomes disconnected. Even if they were to plug back in, your car now has priority and would get as much kilowatts as it could take, up to a certain amount, because I think they'll still do like 20 or 30 kilowatts at the bare minimum to the other car. Those are also things to note on the older or most of the superchargers out there. If you pull into one and you're not getting the full 120 kilowatts, look to see if someone is using the other A or B stall that is paired with your number, because that is probably the reason why you're not getting the full 120, 150 kilowatts or whatever it is. The good thing is that I believe going forward with the V3 superchargers, that will not be an issue. Every single supercharger will be its own supercharger. So when you plug in, you're never going to be splitting that charge rate with someone else. because I have free unlimited supercharging, I actually don't know how they charge you for normal charging. If it's by the mile or by the minute or by like the kilowatt that you're using. So if you use my referral link right now in the video that I did yesterday, you get a 500% bonus on the amount of supercharging miles. So you get 5,000 free supercharging miles if you use my referral link through May 28th. And then it will revert back to 1,000. I do definitely think that Tesla is doing it the right way, at least with the supercharging miles. And I think that this is sort of how all chargers should work, is that instead of doing it by the minute, it should do based on like the mileage of range you get, if that makes sense. Or it could be based on the kilowatts. But I don't like the whole charging by time because it's so variable. And with the new Supercharge America like way that they're going to do it, it's going to be like certain thresholds. So like 0 to 75 kilowatts is 30 cents a minute. And then if you do, 76 to 150 kilowatts, it's, 45 cents a minute, like things like that. It just seems kind of obscure because, well, you could get the low end of that range and still pay the same amount. Whereas if you just do it by mileage, well, then you know how much energy those things have taken. As you can see here, garage first floor, no parking fees apply, 3 of 12 available, 150 kilowatts max, idle fees up to $1 a minute, and then obviously whatever amenities are also. So this is the Gaithersburg Supercharger. That's the difference of how you can tell if there's parking fees, the total kilowatts, and all that good stuff. So very, very helpful, very easy to see here, and you can just quickly tap navigate. Also, it gives you these little like red notification bars as to how many stalls are full. So pretty neat stuff. Very easy to see, very easy to understand. And on top of that, when you are doing a road trip, Tesla will auto navigate you to superchargers. So I'm gonna do like Penn Station, right? So it's gonna take a minute. It pulls up like all the superchargers, and you can see like that's 95. You can see how many superchargers there already are. So this is like superchargers within range, I think, and then the grayed out ones are not in range. You can see my destination pin, and it's finding superchargers for my trip. I think the main takeaway here is that not all superchargers are created equal, but all of the relevant information is either on your car's touchscreen, on your phone app, or obviously you can probably find it all online by now. But just things to be aware of, things to consider, and things to keep in mind. If you guys are enjoying these videos, please consider liking and subscribing. Otherwise, I'll see you guys probably tomorrow, I guess, for Tesla Talk Tuesday, but thanks for watching.